So Debbie, we're so excited that you're joining us as a speaker for Women's Travel Wisdom in October. Tell us a bit about you and what you do and Women on Fire.
Well, I'm thrilled to be coming to California. I can't wait to meet everybody who's attending. And I am actually the founder and CEO of a company called Women on Fire. I started it 18 years ago. I have always believed in the power and the force of women joining forces together and joining forces in a way that uplifts and celebrates everybody's success while we support each other in the ups and downs, which always happen in life. So, that's what I do for a living, as well as lots of other things that have to do with uplifting people and helping them move toward their dreams and goals in their life.
Amazing. And what will you be talking about at the retreat? And can you connect that to travel a little bit for us?
Sure. I'm the opening speaker, and everybody will have been traveling probably most of that day. And I think my talk is around 5 or 6 o'clock. So people will probably be hungry. So I've asked if there be snacks. I did ask, I said, this is the time women like to have their wine. And then I was informed that actually this is a retreat center without alcohol. So
that's true.
They need some fizzy drink. It can be non-alcoholic, but I know my women and they want a little snack and a little something to drink. Anyway, what I'm hoping to share is just to remind women of the incredible power of travel, to, open our minds, to give us experiences that inspire us to do whatever it is on earth that we're supposed to do. So one of my all-time favorite quotes that I've used for 20 or 25 years, I've probably mangled it, but it works for me. And that is, if you don't travel, it's like reading one page of a book. I always found that so powerful. And I know in my own life, and so I hope, I hope to share some of my own experiences traveling. I grew up in a little tiny town in Ohio that was 4,000 people. So, the biggest places I traveled to were Fort Wayne, Indiana, and Toledo, Ohio. And I always dreamed, I used to read my grandparents' National Geographics, and I always dreamed going to all those places. Did you too?
I did too. Yeah.
And I dreamed, and I was like, I want to meet all those people that I see in these pages. And it was a while before I actually was able to travel. So I was the first time I was in my early 30s when I went outside of the United States in a big way. I'd been to Mexico, I'd gone to Canada, which I love. But my very first major trip outside of the country, I think I was 31 or 32, India.
Oh, wow. That's
imagine your first trip is to India. And it was amazing. And it was life-changing. And so I hope to just share some of those experiences of India. I also, because of National Geographic, I also always dreamed of going to Antarctica. So, I know, isn't this funny?
I'm writing an article on that.
Yeah. So and it was a very big deal because back then, there's a lot of organized trips now to Antarctica, but back then there weren't very many. When I had planned, I think it was through Smithsonian, I was going to Antarctica, and there was an oil spill. So when there's an oil spill in Antarctica, everybody who's working at the research stations have to go clean it up. And so they can't even think of handling any sort of tourists, the few that there were. And so what ended up and happened was the country of Chile put together a trip and just said, we're going to take you, in one of our military planes to.
Wow, what an experience.
So I did that. And, Carolyn, what was so fascinating about that was it was such a big trip. And I had a lot of people in my life who were like, why are you going to Antarctica? Why aren't you going to Australia? Over and over, I found out how popular Australia was. And I said, that's your big dream, to go to Australia. My big dream is to go to Antarctica. So I became highly aware early on. People will Shanghai your dream for theirs. And I realized so many people weren't giving themselves their dream trip. They couldn't figure out mine because they longed to, most people want to go to Australia. I discovered. So anyway, I just hope to share some of those stories and inspire women to join forces together to make magical things happen.
So we've called this a retreat for a very important reason. It's not a conference. It's not a one-day event. We're all going to be spending 4 or 5 days together. Yeah. What do you think the state of mind, if you're a woman who loves travel and is passionate about travel through this pandemic, what do you think the state of mind of women is, and how can this retreat help them get to a place where they can experience the joy of travel perhaps, or achieve their dreams, or do all the things they've been dreaming about in the last 2 years?
Yeah. Well, I was I can answer it because I was very fortunate. Donnie Bilo, who is a very close friend of mine, who has Girls Guide to Paris, and is sponsoring this as well, this retreat. So Donnie and I had a trip for Women on Fire members to go to Paris, and of course, the pandemic hit. We had to keep postponing it until we couldn't do that any longer because France opened up. Yeah. So I got a glimpse into where women were, and there was really a great amount of fear. Now, the wonderful end of this story was, it was so breathtaking to take 12 women, go to Paris after we'd been through, more than a year of the pandemic, and just the great relief, the camaraderie. I mean, I think women got even closer to each other because they knew what a gift it was to travel again. We were very fortunate. We were some of the first travelers inside of France when it opened up. So a lot of the places we went, they're like, restaurants were like, you're our first customers that we've had, or our first big group that we've had. Oh, it was so touching. And everybody's laughing, going, people in France are like just so sweet and happy, because they were, to see us. And so, and everybody was cautious because of course of COVID, but it turned out fine. No one got COVID. It was all fine. We were all careful. We all got tested. And so I just think this deeper appreciation now, we've been so isolated. People, I know from running my own company and organization of women, we're exhausted. Yeah. We're exhausted. We kind of are upside down, inside out a little bit. And going back to travel for most people, or even just being with women in a retreat setting, is going to be such a breath of fresh air. And that's when I'm so excited about this retreat for that very reason.
Yeah, it's almost like our chance to take time for ourselves and step back a little bit, when we've been spending so much of this time looking after everybody else, and whether it's our families or our parents or friends. And I mean, personally, both my parents have passed away in the last year, and really, I'm not sure I've fully taken that in, because the pace has been so fast and so hard. So I'm looking forward to it too, for me, and of course for all the women that are going to come with us. But I do think when we really are honest with ourselves, this is something we need.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, to your point, we've all been living in suspended animation. And I'm so sorry about your parents. And this is so true of so many people. We've all had so much loss, and we've all just been coping and hanging on. And so we all need to recalibrate our lives every few years anyway, but the pandemic, I think has really increased the need for that. So anyone who's attending, I'm just so excited for women to have this opportunity, for you, Carolyn, women like you, women like me, to just breathe and just allow whatever is going to come, because we all know when we travel, we don't have what we normally have to deal with every day, and that allows for these ideas to bubble up. So I'm so glad we're all doing this.
Me too. Well, thank you. I can't wait till October when I get to meet you in person.
I know. Thank you for doing this. And, I've been so thrilled to find out about JourneyWoman and all the things that you're doing. And so thank you for keeping us inspired through this really hard time.
Yeah, no, it's a privilege. Okay. We will see you in a few months, Debbie. Thank you.
Thank you.